Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Outspoken Samantha. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button while you are here. So today, my question is, who is the bigger narcissist? Meghan Markle or Rachel Zegler? Now, maybe just for fun, write down which name popped into your brain first, and then see if you still have the same answer by the end of the video. I know it might seem pointless to keep talking about these two, and I know that there are more important things going on in the world, but when it comes to Meghan Markle and Rachel Zegler specifically, these two are becoming something of a case study for me, particularly when it comes to narcissistic, self-centered behaviors, and they repeatedly provide us a shining example of what not to do and how not to act. Why do I think that's important? Well, I think that narcissism is something that is becoming far more prevalent in today's world, and I don't think it is limited to one specific age group or one demographic of people. And what I hope we can learn from the actions of these two women and the consequences that they have experienced because of how they have chosen to act and how they treat others are what should be avoided, especially if you want your claims of being an empathetic and kind person to be taken seriously. Now, in order to be able to answer the question of who's the bigger narcissist, we need to define what we mean by that, because I know that this is a label that is thrown around frequently and it is used far too often, because it's really not just about thinking about yourself or looking out for your interests, because we all do that to an extent. But to me, it's when most of your internal dialogue clearly tells you to think only of yourself and your disinterest in the feelings of others is blatantly obvious, and that it's clear that you have to make a conscious effort to convince people that you are a caring and kind, empathetic person because you know that your actions contradict that statement. Narcissists also have an inflated sense of self-importance, thinking that most people have a higher opinion of them than they really do. These are also the people who I think lack a real conscience because they have no problem lying or inflating situations for self-serving purposes, even if that lie is presenting themselves as someone who is kind when they know that there is an abundance of evidence that suggests that they are not a kind person, or that they're only kind when it, again, serves them. And the fact that people know that they are gaslighting them doesn't bother them at all. So these are all of the things that I'm talking about when I say narcissist. You can call yourself a caring, empathetic person all you want, but as we all know, actions speak louder than words. So let's start with Meghan Markle. I don't think that it is any secret that everything this woman does is in her own self-interest and that she has no boundaries about who she'll throw under the bus if she thinks it'll give her a boost. As myself and many others have said and have pointed out numerous examples of, she and Harry have profited off trashing and lying about both of their families, while evidence has piled up to show that they have consistently been the problem, that they were the ones making their families' lives miserable, and that almost everything that they have said about the people who raised them has been shown to be untrue. Every narrative that they have tried to spin, painting themselves as victims, has been proven to be false as well. The most memorable one being the car chase through New York that even the mayor of New York said was pretty much impossible, considering what traffic in the Big Apple is like about 99% of the time. We all knew that it didn't happen, not only because of the location, but because we all know they're not that popular. No one is chasing Harry and Meghan anywhere. But Meghan always has to be in front of the camera, and she has no limits on what she will do to make it happen. I think the most blatant example of that is when these two showed up at an area where people's homes had been burned down during the California wildfires, and they walked around doing nothing, pretty much. I mean, actress Justine Bateman referred to these two as disaster tourists because it was pretty clear that they were there to get in front of a camera and not because they were helping the victims in any way. And that's not to say that celebrities can't get involved in disaster relief. I saw a photo of Paris Hilton at an animal rescue where a bunch of animals were taken after being separated from their owners, but it was clear that she was not there to promote herself. She was participating in something that was already organized and using her name to bring attention to work that others were already doing. We could go on and on, but what really started the wheels turning for me on this topic was in regards to Meghan Markle's newest series with Love Meghan on Netflix, and an article that came out revealing some of the behind-the-scenes work that had to go into actually making her seem relatable. The whole thing was a mess, but this recent article shows how all of the instincts we had about Meghan being self-centered and incapable of thinking of other people, no matter how how much hospitality she put on display in her series, how we were all correct. In this article, it talks about how Meghan talked about herself so much in the series that the producers had to go back and dub over with her asking questions to her guests about them. In this article, it says Meghan Markle's new Netflix series has been hit with more controversy as claims have emerged that producers had to dub the actress asking her guest questions about their life because she was too busy talking about her own. With love, Meghan sees the Duchess of Sussex, 43, invite friends and famous guests to her $14.65 million California mansion, which she shares with husband Prince Harry, to offer cooking and hosting tips. Some viewers have pointed out that Meghan spends one episode mostly talking about herself, and producers later added voiceovers of her asking her guest stars questions. In the second episode of the show, Meghan invites U.S. actor Mindy Kaling to her lavish home to learn how to make finger food and host a luxury children's party. During the episode, Meghan spent much of the time speaking about the meals she was making and telling Mindy anecdotes about her personal life, including one story about her science teacher, Mr. Ben, who recently died. Meanwhile, Mindy shared very little about her own life and was instead seen complimenting Meghan on her lifestyle. In the final 15 minutes of the episode, Mindy finally shared an anecdote about loving restaurants and food growing up. However, the comment did not appear to be prompted by Meghan, as a very clear voiceover of the Duchess was edited into the clip asking Mindy, "What kinds of things did you like as a kid?" The clip then cuts back to Mindy and images of her as a child as she responds, "Growing up, I loved restaurants and food, so I would find little recipes and then cook for my mom and dad at home." So that is absolutely wild to me. Being the loving and compassionate person that Meghan wants us to believe she is came so unnaturally to her that they had to sit her down and be like, we need to add you in asking questions about your friends. And she was probably like, huh, that didn't even occur to me. So now let's look at Rachel Zegler. This young woman has been on our radar for quite some time as the actress that was cast as Snow White, despite repeatedly reminding us that she didn't like the movie and that she thought the old Snow White was not her vibe. Now, we won't go through all of the clips that we've already touched on because we've all seen them numerous times at this point. But when it comes to Rachel Zegler being a narcissist, well, this is something that she proudly labeled herself as in an interview with Jimmy Kimmel.
For photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and it is I have to pretend like, oh God, well, crazy that we're in front of this.
Wait, how often are you in line for the Snow White ride?
I'm a narcissist.
I get that she was probably kidding, but I am of the belief that there's always a little truth in every joke. But it's not only that. This woman clearly has a very, very, very high opinion of herself. So much so that she thinks she can be openly rude, obnoxious, and loudmouth about whatever she thinks in the moment, and that people are still going to love her. And that if she acts like a nice person who cares about compassion and humanity at other times, that people will forget about her other atrocious comments. This contrast can be seen where she posted about how anyone who voted for Trump deserves to never know peace again. And then some other not so friendly past tweets of hers against Trump himself have resurfaced lately. In this one, it says, "F you, Donald Trump," and then says, "Yes, I am a nasty, nasty bee." We'll never understand why they cast this person as Snow White, the fairest of them all. And then on the flip side, and I know I have shown this clip before, but this was a speech she gave where she claimed to care about everyone on this project and that she wants people to take an understanding of kindness after they watch this movie and walk away feeling more compassionate toward other people.
I love everybody in this movie so dearly. Coming to the end of this road of the release feels really crazy because when you spend so much time with something, it becomes such a big part of you and a big part of your heart. And Snow White has really been that way for me. And to see this is really emotional for me, so I'm going to try to not do that. I love her, and I'm so glad to see that so many of you love her as well. Her superpower is her heart. It's nothing supernatural. It's something that all of us have. And deep within us, there is an inherent good and a belief in the kindness of humanity. I hope that you walk away from this film understanding what the true meaning of fair is. I really, really hope that for the world as well.
So wanting everybody to come out of this understanding compassion and humanity doesn't really line up with her past behaviors. But the biggest blast against Zegler came recently when the Snow White producer's son responded to a comment about how his father, the producer of the film, actually had to fly to New York to talk to Zegler about how her political comments were hurting the film. And the son's response says it all. The top commenter said, "Your dad flew to NYC to reprimand a young actress. Any words on this? Because that's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No, shame on your father." And the response, this is by Jonah Platt, who was the son of the Snow White producer, said, "You really want to do this?" Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie, for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged. So yeah, she clearly did not care one bit about all of these people that worked on the film that she claimed to love so much, and about how what she was doing was hurting them. There were millions of dollars and thousands of people involved in this project, and it didn't cross her mind once that her actions might impact them. It was all about her. As I think I've already said, one thing about narcissists is that they really don't care about others. They lack compassion and empathy. So they try to act how they think compassionate and empathetic people would act. With Meghan, it's all about playing the part of the perfect hostess. With Rachel, it's about getting out there and giving speeches about how much she cares about everyone, even though the evidence overwhelmingly proves otherwise. And then it's the clear demonstration that they know that we know the truth, yet they think if they pretend that the truth doesn't exist, that we'll accept whatever it is that they want us to believe. But it doesn't work. Obviously, these two are a clear liability when it comes to the entertainment world, and anyone who brings them onto their projects needs to understand the risks that they are assuming by associating with or hiring a narcissistic person, because they will clearly throw you under the bus without hesitation if they think that it will benefit them in some way. And as I said in the beginning, I hope that we can look at them and understand how not to act. You can call yourself caring and empathetic, but if you tear people down and, I don't know, trash your family or wish terror on 3/4 of the country or set Teslas on fire or threaten people with violence who disagree with you, then people are going to know the truth, which is that you are not a caring and empathetic person, but that you are a self-centered narcissist. If you go into any relationship or job or any situation only thinking about yourself, it will be evident to other people that you are the most important person. And you need to know that if things do not go well, then you are the reason why. Ultimately, if you are your own biggest fan, chances are you're the only fan that you have. I have personally dealt with narcissists in my life, and I can say that despite the fact that they think everybody around them loves them, the truth is most people are simply tolerating them because it's easier. So if you act like Meghan or Rachel or one of the other unhinged people that are taking up the news cycle right now, just know you are likely not as highly thought of as you think you are, and it's time for some self-reflection and some serious change. Anyway, now it is officially time to answer the question, who's the bigger narcissist, Meghan or Rachel? Drop it in the comments below along with any other thoughts you have on this topic. And have you ever dealt with a narcissist? I would love to hear about it. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe while you're here, and help me to grow this channel. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one.